Thank you again, and welcome everyone to the Brandy Brooks Power Posse launch party. We are so glad to have you here. My name is Michelle Whitaker. I'm your MC for the evening. I'm Brandy Brooks's campaign manager, and we are so glad to have you here. We are kicking off this party with such an exciting demonstration. We have the amazing mixologist Bobby Westmoreland here, who is going to share some special cocktails that she's made just for our launch party to help set the tone and to give us some great Black history to also share and uplift in our celebration. So I'm going to kick this over to Bobby. And if you are interested, we can just switch Allie to the slide. If you're interested in knowing what the ingredients for these cocktails, we have the ingredients available. They're also available on our website for you to mix at your convenience at a later time and enjoy these lovely cocktails that we have for the evening. Bobby, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, we're kicking it over to you.
Hi, everybody. I am Bobby Westmoreland, and I can still hear the music. Is that supposed to?
Allie, we can turn off the music now. Thank you.
Hi again. I'm Bobby Westmoreland, and first I want to thank Brandy Brooks and Michelle for inviting me to come here and show you guys a couple of drinks. A little bit about me. I'm a 1998 graduate of the Professional Bartending School in Arlington, Virginia, and I have over 20 years of experience working in nightclubs, FedEx Field for several seasons, and I've done tons of parties, weddings, showers, and all kinds of things like that. So um, we're going to start off with a drink called a launch party lemonade. And for that drink, we're going to be using a Tennessee whiskey. And a little bit about Tennessee whiskey, a lot of people think they're interchangeable with bourbon, and technically they are bourbon. So bourbons are distilled to, the government says that bourbon has to be distilled with over 50% corn. So Tennessee whiskeys and bourbon start out the same way, but bourbons, one, are from Kentucky, and then Tennessee whiskeys are usually made in Tennessee. And the thing with Tennessee whiskey is before it's after it's distilled and before it goes into the barrels to age, it's run through a filter process using honey oak ash. So the most popular Tennessee whiskey, of course, everyone knows is Jack Daniels. But today we're going to be using Uncle Nearest. So Uncle Nearest was a slave and he taught the makers of Jack Daniels how to brew whiskey. So this brand was started a couple years ago by his descendants. So this Uncle Nearest 1856, it's 100 proof, and it's won a lot of awards, and it's a really, really, really smooth liquor. So one thing I'm not gonna do is use a measuring cup because one of the things I learned in bartender school and that they really stress in the club is how to pour the right size shot without pouring too much. So we're going to start with an ounce and a half of Uncle Nearest or whatever Tennessee whiskey of your choice. So this glass, this is my Preakness glass from when I worked at Preakness, but this size glass is 10 ounces and it's called a Collins glass. So we're going to make this in a Collins glass. So you're going to start with a glass of ice and pour 1.5 ounces of Uncle Nearest in there. You're going to follow that up with a half ounce of triple sec. And triple sec is not very strong. It's an orange flavored liqueur. So we're going to do a half ounce of that. And then we're going to top it with some sweet and sour mix. So sweet and sour mix is basically sweet lemon juice with a little bit of bar foam, and that gives it that little fizz. So we're going to put 2 ounces of sweet and sour. And typically when you make a drink that you're using, adding soda to, you usually roll it. And that's when you pour it into your mixing cup. And then you pour it back into your glass. And then we're going to top it with Sprite or lemon lime soda of your choice. Unless you're making a Long Island iced tea, you usually don't add the carbonation until you're done. And then this drink is garnished with a lemon. So most drinks have a set garnish that you use. So this is your launch party lemonade. Pretty good if I do say so myself. If you're not a whiskey drinker, one thing I really like about Uncle Nearest is it's really, really smooth. And I like it when I'm sick. I like to put it in my tea. I don't like anything strong, but this is really good and really smooth for tea. So our next drink is our People's Power Punch. So this is technically a rum punch, and you can use any type of rum. If you like coconut rum, they make mango rum. They make. One thing I would say is to use more than rum. One. So we're gonna use Myers rum, which is dark, and we're gonna use some a light Bacardi. So we're gonna put an ounce and a half of each. You want 3 ounces. And if you use more rums, you could use an ounce of each. You can just mix it up any way you want. And this glass we're using is a hurricane glass. These you'll see in New Orleans if you get like a hurricane, but they're shaped like hurricane lamps, hence the name. So here we're going to use some orange juice and pineapple juice in equal parts, about 2 ounces of each. And here, again, you can get creative. I didn't I didn't put a lot of juices on the drink list, but in my refrigerator, I have peach nectar, I have mango nectar, I have passion fruit nectar. So you can get wild with it. And one thing I also didn't put on the list, but if you want to give it a really tropical feel, creme de banana. You probably have to go to like a big liquor store to find this, but this will make you feel like you're on the island. So I'm gonna add just a little bit of this so it can take me away from this nasty weather and make me feel like I'm in the Bahamas somewhere. Last thing we're going to add is some grenadine. And this will give it a little red color, make it look festive. If you had a little umbrella, you can add that. And here's a little secret. If you're out of grenadine or you don't want to buy it, put a little bit of your maraschino cherry juice in there. And that'll kind of give it the same kick. So again, we roll it. We're back in a cup. Then we're going to add a cherry and an orange slice. And if you had a nice little umbrella, it will go perfect in here. So this is our People's Power Punch. Our last drink, we're going to make in any glass you want. And this drink is going to be made, it's the Brooks Berry Lemonade. This is going to be our, actually, let me pour the ice out of here. This is going to be our non-alcoholic drink. But if you wanted to add alcohol to this, I would suggest vodka. And you can add a flavored vodka. You can add a plain vodka. My vodka of choice is Tito's. So here we're going to add some blueberries. And this is going to be about equal to about a quarter of a cup. Just for now, we're going to put just a little bit of sweet and sour in here with the blueberries. Just to help us muddle them. Then we're going to muddle them. This is a muddler. If you don't have a muddler, which I suspect most people don't have in their house, then you can use a spoon. So this, you're going to mash them up good. Let all the juice come out. This drink you can also make in the blender. It's a nice summertime treat. But you want to use a can of frozen lemonade so that when you add the ice, it's not going to get watery. Otherwise, if you just take regular lemonade and throw it in the blender with ice, it's going to be watered down. So you're going to use your concentrated frozen lemonade. So once we get these blueberries good and mashed, we'll put our ice back. And because this is a virgin drink, I'm using my glass mixing cup because I would hate to give this to a kid and have them drunk at a party. So then we're going to add our sweet and sour. And this time we're going to add our Sprite. And the sweet and sour and the Sprite is going to create our lemonade. But we're going to add that at the same time, just so that it can get really mixed. And again, we roll it. And here you have your Brooks Berry lemonade. This is really good, y'all. And you can also squeeze some lemon in here just for a little extra flavor. And these are our 3 cocktails. The Brooks Berry lemonade, the People Power Punch, and the Launch Party lemonade. Any questions?
Bobby, that was fantastic. I made myself a little launch party lemonade that I'm sipping on right here.
Did you use Uncle Nearest?
I did use Uncle Nearest. This is good. I like it.
It's really smooth. Is it smooth?
It's smooth. This is really nice. Y'all, you need to get this. I've seen in the chat, people are asking about this. You can find Uncle Nearest at the county liquor stores. You can search around and find it. It's great. It's a wonderful liquor. It was great for this. All of the punches are fantastic. And these are great celebration drinks that we have during this. Let me just see if there's any other questions that people have about the drinks. And for just again, Bobby, can you share what's the background again on Uncle Nearest in case some people missed that?
So Uncle Nearest was a slave, and he was taught how to brew whiskey by some slaves that had come over from Africa. So he in turn taught the makers of Jack Daniels how to brew whiskey, and it's never been something that they advertise as part of their history, but it's not something that they've hidden either. So if you Google Uncle Nearest, you'll see there's a big article in the New York Times, and this liquor is made by his descendants. So they started their own distillery a couple years ago in Tennessee, and they started making this Uncle Nearest. So it's a Tennessee whiskey, which, as I explained earlier, it's the same thing as a bourbon. It's distilled from 51% corn, but the only difference is before it goes into the barrels, it's run through honey oak ash. It's filtered through honey oak ash, and then it goes into the barrels. So that's what makes the Tennessee whiskey different from a bourbon.
Wow, wonderful. And it's a great taste. Hey, everyone, can we give Bobby a round of applause for making these great drinks for our evening tonight? Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. On our website, we do have the drinks listed. And if you would like information, I met Bobby because she did another event and she did an awesome job with that drink. And I was like, ooh, we need her for at our event, and she's awesome. So if you're doing an event and you're looking for a mixologist who can give you a little bit of history on things and make some wonderful cocktails, Bobby is a person to go to. So thank you again, Bobby.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. And good luck, Brandy. I will be rooting for you, even though I'm in PG County. I can't vote for you, but I'll be rooting for you.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. So that is great. I'm so glad that we had the chance to make those drinks to get us started with our celebration. As many of you know, Brandy did run in the 2018 election. And one thing that we wanted to do is take a moment to share stories, video supporter stories from folks from 2018, and also from some folks who are early supporters of Brandy who are helping us to do our campaign. Now, before we jump into that video, I just want to remind, in case anybody was a new, just added to our group.
When I met Brandy the first time, that was at a DSA happy hour, when she started talking about not only her work as a community organizer, which is so important, but also her vision for how to govern. That's when I immediately jumped on board. To hear somebody say that governing should be like what we do as grassroots organization, building a movement and governing in that way really struck me as something new and fresh and something that's really needed.
That you look at the county as a whole and see everybody in as having a stake, and that a holistic way of governance, government for the people, is about being able to listen to everybody and then make decisions about what our priorities are. I think this is a chance for the people of Montgomery County to speak and to choose folks that really will represent all of our voices.
When Brandy Brooks called me and asked if I would support her for county council, it was immediately a yes, she is someone who will truly make movement on these issues as she has done in the history of her activism in this county. And she's just someone who really, truly, at her heart, just cares for people.
Her vision and her experience are very much in line with the vision and the platforms for racial and economic justice that so many of my friends, organizations I'm part of, have been fighting for in the DMV region, and I'm really excited about how having Brandy in office will really help us achieve our goals.
As an organizer, Brandy knows what it will take to deliver social, racial, economic, and environmental justice for all of our residents, because she knows that it is long past due that every member of our community have a voice at the table.
She's going to go fight for affordable housing in Montgomery County. She's going to fight for fair wage and good working conditions for workers in this county. And she's going to make this a place, a county where everyone is welcome.
You know, Brandy's willing to actually put into action what she talks about. You know, she doesn't just talk about getting citizens involved and participating in the process. She actually gets behind that and, you know, organizes and does what it takes to make it happen.
A lot of her passion, a lot of what she has is tempered with both pragmatism, idealism, and just wanting to help. And that's probably what's most important to me, is the fact that she wants to help makes me want to help her.
And I was super excited to finally have a campaign that I could completely support without reservations. I was just really excited to find Brandy and looking forward to having her in an at-large position on the Montgomery County Council.
I'm out in the rain canvassing for Brandy because she is going to make Montgomery County a more equitable place for all of its citizens.
Brandy Brooks for People Power!
Montgomery County a more equitable place for all of its citizens.
Brandy Brooks for People Power!
That's great. I'm so glad that we were able to show that and highlight folks, past supporters and current supporters of Brandy's campaign from 2018 and today. I want to pass it over to Brandy real quick because she has a fun, including the mixed drinks that we have. She's got something special that a special someone made for her. Brandy?
Hi, everyone. You'll be hearing more from me in a little bit, but I just had to share something really exciting. A lot of you know how central my mom was to our last campaign, how amazing she was with our events and just so much of what she did working with our volunteers. And I just wanted to highlight for you this beautiful, beautiful cake that my mom made for our launch party. I'm sorry that I don't get to share it with all of you, but I just wanted to say hi and thank you so much, Mom, and thank you so much to everyone who spoke in that video and to everyone who supported me in 2018.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Brandy. That is fantastic. And I wish we could enjoy that cake. We will have to have Mom make another cake really soon once we are able to be in person so we can enjoy that. And I know folks love the video and you may have had a little bit of technical issues hearing it. We will be posting that to our social media so you can see the supporter video as well. But we're again, grateful for all of the folks who have been able to be part of our campaign and to be able to support it and share their stories. I want to give a quick fundraising update for everybody because as many of you know, when we launched and made our announcement for this campaign, we invited folks to help us raise the money for the public election fund so that Brandy can compete using public election fund matching dollars. Chris will be on later to share more about what the Public Election Fund is and how it works. But I wanted to just give you a quick update on our donations and how people have been giving to this campaign. You all are amazing. You all are amazing. Just stay on the previous slide. We had people who could give anywhere between $5 and $250. And through all of those donations, we have to date right now raised $30,869. Give yourself a round of applause. That's amazing work from everybody. Over $30,000 raised from 382 donors who have donated to the campaign so far. I'm going to be giving another update closer to the end of this with some more details of where we are. But I want to just say, this is amazing. If you have not donated yet to Brandy's campaign, I have one of our tech folks, can you please post the link to brandyformontgomery.com/donate. Go there, make a donation, help be part of this amazing groundswell of support that we will show you. Chris will tell you in a little bit of how that will all come together to really make sure Brandy can run a campaign that is really grounded in our organizing principles, grounded in engaging with the community and lifting up new voices and being able to do this work for the next 500 days. Today is 500 days until Election Day, June 28th, 2022. And we are going to spend those next 500 days making sure we're engaging with the community, and your donations help to make sure that we can do that and we can run an awesome program and reach out to the people we need. So I'll give you another update really soon, but I'm already excited. I hope you're excited by that. I hope you're encouraging your friends, your family to make a donation anywhere between $5 and $250 to the campaign. Whew, that's a lot. Brady, I'm going to kick you real quick before, so I can just launch up my screen so I can do the intros. But do you want to add anything while I'm getting my screen ready?
I just want to say to everyone that I am in awe of your power. I am I lack the words. Delighted, thrilled, excited, encouraged. Dancing around, all of those things, because this has been such an amazing show just at the outset of our campaign about not only the support of our vision and our leadership, but really it's difficult to explain, and we'll try and share more over the coming weeks of what an unprecedented kind of feat this is. I want to remind folks that this $30,800 that we've raised is folks giving no more than $250 to our campaign and an average of less than $80. This is not the kind of thing that we typically see done in fundraising. And the reason that it is happening is because of you all. So I'm so thankful, so excited about what we are kicking off today.
Thank you, Brandy. We're going to hear from Brandy more in a few minutes, but what we invited some special guests to be part of our program to share a little bit about why they support Brandy and what is so important about this campaign. Our first guest speaker is Ana Sol Gutierrez. Ana Sol Gutierrez is a community leader who has served at all levels of government. She is a former Maryland State delegate, a former member of the Montgomery County Board of Education, and a former deputy administrator in the Transportation Department under the Clinton administration. She was the first Latina woman elected to the Maryland General Assembly, and she proudly represented District 18 and advanced policies on transportation, immigration reform, and justice. We are so excited to have Ana Sol Gutierrez here with us. Ana, I'm going to kick it over to you to share why you're supporting Brandy.
Wonderful, wonderful. I unmuted myself ahead of time. I am so happy to be here with such an incredible bunch of people. I couldn't finish my scrolling through. There were so many people on this Zoom meeting. I am happy to be here, keeping Brandy company and applauding. And I just wish I could have had that drink. Boy, did that make me thirsty. But just a little bit of background. I met Brandy just a short time ago when we were both running for the county council. And lo and behold, I thought I met my soulmate. She and I are just hit it off right away. And we were one of the very few progressives, definitely progressive and standing for progressive issues, but daring to say truth to power. I think that that's what attracted me to Brandy, and what should be the reason, one of the reasons why we all want her to serve on the council. We all know the powers that be, those who have made Montgomery County what it is, and it's very status quo oriented and very resistant to change, though it needs to change. Those people don't want people like Brandy and myself to run for office, to be a voice, and to make those policy decisions that are so important for us to have people like Brandy representing us, daring to raise a hand, speak up, and say, no, have you thought about this? This has a negative impact on somebody. I did that while I was a delegate up in Annapolis, and honestly, I got tired of bumping into a brick wall. It's much harder to change the viewpoint and to get the things to pass with a large group like the state legislature. So I decided the council was a better forum. It also brings you home. It affects the people that you care for the most, that you're working for, that you see, that really need to have the voice that represent them and their issues brought to the forefront. So I am just so delighted that Brandy is taking on the good fight one more time, and I'm going to be right there with her. We couldn't have a better spokesperson, and I am just delighted to be here, to see this kind of support, to see this kind of fundraising, and onward and upward. Yay, Brandy. Give us a hand of applause for her. Thank you. And I turn it back up to the chairman.
Thank you, Anna. That was wonderful. So exciting to hear it. It's all local matters, and having people who care about the issues and connect us together is so critical. And so we thank you for sharing your voice. Our next speaker is Dalban Osorio. He's the current vice chair of the Montgomery County Police Advisory Commission and current advocacy chair for the MCCTTA, and a former board of education at-large candidate. We're excited to have Dalban here to share his background. So Dalban, and why you're supporting Brandy. Take it away.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you for that awesome introduction. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday blistery evening. And aside from those professional titles that I hold, I also am privileged enough to hold the title of father to a 3-year-old beautiful baby girl. And I think for me, one of the biggest things, and I met Brandy also 3 years ago, like Anna, and I'm going to tell you a funny story. So I have a friend who's known Brandy for a really long time. And when she found out that I was running for a county council seat, she goes to me, she's like, "You're not running against Brandy Brooks, are you?" And I was like, "Should I not?" And she's like, "Oh, no. She's going to defeat you really quickly." And I quickly found out that the reason Brandy's reputation precedes itself is because everywhere Brandy goes, she tends to make everybody's life better. And as a father, as a program manager, as a social worker, for me, the biggest thing in any of these kind of races is who's going to make my daughter's life better as she grows up in Montgomery County, right? A lot of us moved here for the school systems, right? When the school system was a little bit different than it was now, right? And the big thing about Brandy is that Brandy isn't scared of the big fight. And for me, if I'm going to back anybody in this race, it's somebody that's willing to stand in there toe to toe with people that for too long in our county have tried to keep a hand on what it means to be progressive in this county. And this county for too long has reaped the benefits of being called a progressive bastion without actually being progressive. And I could not be more honored because Brandy understands the struggle that my mom had when she came here in the 80s and worked till she could not work anymore to make sure that my brothers and I could get the life that we had now. Brandy understands that. Brandy understands what it's like for me raising an Afro-Latina in this county, making sure that she can claw her way to everything she deserves, because Brandy understands that intimately. Because Brandy can't remove being an Afro-Latina woman in this county no more than any of us could take off a pea coat when it's cold in the winter, right? And so for me, there's nobody else more equipped because of her professional experience, her lived experience, her empathy, her ability to care for folks, to change the way we do politics in Montgomery County than Brandy Brooks. Before I became a social worker, I was a teacher for 4 years, and I would be in the classroom with my students, and at the end of the day, the one thing I would ask them is, what did we learn? What did we learn today, right? And it happens even now when I'm helping my daughter with a puzzle. It centers me whenever the county tends to pass a piece of legislation that I really don't agree with, right? And when I met Brandy, I asked myself, what did I learn? And what I learned is that this county has never had an Afro-Latina, Black woman, woman of color in that at-large seat on the county council. But I promise you, with the work that we do, Brandy Brooks will be the first. So that's why I'm proud to support Brandy. Brandy, you are my sister, and we have your back over the next 500 days. I love you.
Thank you, Dalvin. Yes, we have got Brandy's back. That is amazing. We have some history in the making. And this is amazing what we can do with a people power movement over the next 500 days. We are with you, Brandy. We are with you. Our next speaker is Rebecca Thompson. Rebecca is a proud resident of downtown Silver Spring and the Clarity Coach for High Achieving Black Womenex and campaign. She's a campaign expert. She's someone I've gotten to know so well, and she is also serving as our campaign chair and helping to lead us and to frame all of our discussions and our strategy in centering our communities, in centering us in being strong in who we are. And I'm so excited to have her as part of the team, and I'm so excited for her to be our chair. Rebecca, I'm tossing it over to you.
Greetings, and good evening. Dalvin, you just lit me on fire, so thank you. I was already on the verge of tears, and I feel them coming, so I am going to allow them. I will tell you there are few words to describe the magic that is Brandy Brooks. And when I first met her, I was serving as the Run to Win director at Emily's List. And it was my job to travel the country and to look for candidates. And as a former candidate for state representative in Detroit myself, and I've literally traveled the world training women of color, and particularly Black women, to run for office. And when I met Brandy, I remember thinking to myself that she was a woman to watch. And I was saddened to hear when she lost. But as somebody who lost their race by just 6 votes, I will tell you that what that really was divine misdirection, right? And so 3 years later, Brandy is now one of my dearest friends. We are neighbors, and we are comrades in this fight to radically reimagine what is possible for Montgomery County. And I will tell you, as somebody who has lived around the world, I have not quite found the home that I have found in Silver Spring. And it feels like the neighborhood I've always dreamed of. And so I will be really transparent, because as a proud resident of downtown Silver Spring, it is in my self-interest to be in deep relationship with my elected officials. And I want to call them when things aren't working. And as somebody who knows what it looks like that we can be changed in the face of power, Brandy is the embodiment of that, right? And so for me, it makes it very much a hell yes when Brandy asked me to help lead this campaign team, because I will tell you that she is exactly what the Montgomery County Council needs. And when I look at that website, somebody should we would just Photoshop her in, but we're gonna wait until she's there because she is what is missing. And I will tell you that the bold people power that we have built in just a few days is just a glimpse of what we are about to do. And people are deeply afraid of that. And so we are giving ourselves and Brandy permission to fully live and stand in her light and to be bold and fearless and unapologetic. And Brandy ditto, we have your back, okay? And so now I am excited to introduce Takoma Park Mayor Kate Stewart. Kate is a longtime resident who has raised her two children in the city and is serving as her third term as mayor. Kate, welcome, and I will pass it over to you. Thank you all again.
Great. Well, thank you, Rebecca, and thank you to everyone. Wow, the energy tonight is just amazing, and I am truly honored to be part of all of this. And after the week, the months, the years we've had recently, this is so needed to, really feed our souls. So I want to thank everyone for including me in this evening. As Rebecca said, I am a longtime resident of Takoma Park. I've had the privilege of first renting in the city, then becoming a homeowner. I've raised my two kids here who went all the way through public school, got to coach rec soccer, as well as, be a local activist, and now serving as the mayor of the city. And through all those experiences, I've seen a lot of change in Takoma Park and in Montgomery County. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of things that have just stayed the same. And what I've witnessed over time is that to make the change we need, whether like right now, it's making sure we have testing sites or getting vaccines to the people who are most in need, or it's advocating for police reform in Annapolis so that we can truly hold law enforcement accountable, or it's having more housing policies that allow us to build not just more housing, but affordable, stable, quality homes for people. We need persistence. We need to center the lived experiences of those most impacted, and we need courage. And so I'm really glad to be here tonight and have the honor of introducing Brandy. Because as you all know, Brandy is an advocate, a community leader, a fighter for racial and economic justice. And as we think about the future of Montgomery County, it is her skills, know-how, experience, and her persistence that we need on that county council. This upcoming election is going to be pivotal for our future because there's no going back to the so-called normal of before COVID-19. Because we know that that normal did not work for so many people in our communities. And so right now we have both an imperative and an opportunity to make the necessary changes. And as I've said, during my time in the city and the county, I've seen a lot of changes, but I've also seen too many things that have stayed the same. And I've seen firsthand how we can't just continue to nibble around the edges. We need to make the systematic changes that are really going to improve people's lives in our communities. And COVID-19 has shown a bright light on the disparities and issues that we have known for too long have been part of our community. So to face the challenges ahead and to fight the dual pandemics we have right in front of us right now of COVID-19 and racism, we need bold action, we need courage, we need people who know when to call people out and when to call them in. And we need Brandy Brooks. And so it is now my pleasure to pass the virtual mic over to Brandy Brooks.
Well, I may need to take Rebecca's permission to cry as well, because thank you. You all are people that I admire so much. Your support means the world to me. So just thank you. If the interpreters don't mind for a moment, I'm going to pop over to the Spanish channel to introduce myself, and then I'll come back here to the English channel for the remainder of my speech. Buenas noches, bienvenidos, y muchísimas gracias por estar conmigo aquí esta noche. Me llamo Brandy Brooks, mi pronombre es ella, vivo en la área de Kensington y Wheaton, y tengo mucho orgullo de ser candidata para concejal de todo el condado de Montgomery en las elecciones de 2022. Tonight is the culmination of so many conversations, so many weeks of hard work, and so much organizing. And the best part is that, as folks have said, we are only at the beginning. We have 500 days to demonstrate what a grassroots, people-powered political movement can accomplish in this county. And the work won't stop even after that, because we have years of joyful, powerful organizing ahead of us as we transform Montgomery County politics and policies to put people first. When I ran my first campaign in 2018, Election Day wasn't even officially over before folks were asking me if I'd run again. My joke is usually that I told them, first I'm going to sleep again, and then I'll decide if I'm going to run again. That kind of incredible enthusiasm is so affirming and inspiring to know that people felt that strongly about the shared vision that we built and were so supportive of my leadership and were so ready to throw down for the next time. That enthusiasm can also be a little daunting, though, because you can get carried away on that tide without grounding yourself in your own clear sense of purpose. So as I was thinking about running for office this election, I found myself asking, am I doing this because folks want me to, or am I doing it because it's the right thing for me, because I am the right person and this is the right moment? I spent the entirety of 2020 reflecting on that question. And while I reflected, I watched a devastating pandemic sweep across our planet. I watched our nation become first on the worst possible list, the number of people dead from COVID-19. I watched fires and storms ravage communities in the United States and across the globe. I watched unarmed Black women and men and trans folks choked out and beaten and shot to death, while white people shot folks in the street and walked away unharmed. I watched people losing their jobs and their homes and their loved ones and their lives. But 2020 wasn't just a series of crises that I observed from a distance. I struggled to figure out how to support my mom through 3 serious health crises, of which COVID-19 was actually the least life-threatening. As someone who has dealt with chronic depression since I was a child, I struggled with the grief of not being able to hug my family members and friends, and the physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual exhaustion of making it through each difficult day and wondering how long this is going to last. I struggled with shedding long-standing narratives of racial, cis heteropatriarchal capitalism that told me that as an Afro-Latina woman without wealth, that I didn't deserve to rest, that I didn't deserve support, and that what I was doing and the fact that I was managing to get up every day was never good enough, no matter how much of a victory it truly represented. And throughout 2020, I was very clear that both the personal traumas I was facing and the collective trauma we all were experiencing had the same root: systems of oppression, exploitation, and dehumanization that put us out of right relationship with our planet, with one another, and even with our own selves. And we needed public leadership that would speak to these root causes, look beyond getting back to normal, a normal that was harming and killing us and our communities every day, and reach for what it looked like to build a politics and policies of healing, restoration, transformation, and liberation. At the end of 2020, I became clear that this was a role that I wanted to embrace by running once again for County Council at Large. I wanted to use all of the things that I had experienced and all of the struggles and all of the lessons that I'd learned from them to build the kind of world that would hold me and heal me, that would hold and heal my family and my friends, that would hold and heal my community. And I was certain then, just as I am now, that I am not the only person who is ready to build that world. I am running because I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. Running for office is a faith journey. When I ran in the 2018 elections, I'd never run for office before or even worked on a campaign before. And so I didn't know enough to know that what I wanted to do was considered kind of crazy. And that's probably a good thing. But I did have a conviction that while I was busy making myself small and thinking I wasn't good enough, people like Donald Trump and Larry Hogan woke up believing that they had a right to lead, and their leadership was doing terrible harm to the people and places I loved. I got clear that my holding back only gave them room to run roughshod over us. I got clear that it was time to stop letting other people's visions rule our world and to start building power for our visions instead. And because of that conviction, we were able to do tremendous things. With my sister and my mother as the core of my team, we built a base of hundreds of volunteers and donors, raised more than $150,000 through the Public Election Fund, and earned 21 organizational endorsements and 26,000 votes. We developed amazing leaders who have gone on to play critical roles in policy around racial equity, domestic violence, criminal justice, education, and more. We connected with people who never thought they'd be involved in a political campaign, but who became passionate advocates for a shared vision of a Montgomery for all. We showed that a grassroots campaign led by Black women that engaged everyday people could shift the landscape of local politics. This campaign is the next stage of that faith journey, and we are leaning into our vision. We are going to be bold and unapologetic about centering the voices of people of color, of women, of the TLGBTQ plus community, of immigrants, young people, and poor and working people. We are going to be bold and unapologetic about our progressive vision and progressive policy solutions. We are going to redefine the conversation about what it is possible for us to do through public policy to support every person who lives in this county. We are going to do it because it is what is right. We are going to do it because our lives depend on it. And we are going to do it because we recognize that we cannot prosper as a county if we are attempting to do it by marginalizing and exploiting our own people. I believe that we will win. What we have already accomplished in the last week is a stunning testament to the power of a grassroots movement. And I want to be absolutely clear. I did not do this on my own. The culture that we live in likes to frame great accomplishments through history as the work of great people, usually great men, acting largely on their own, with their individual genius and initiative being the thing that makes the difference. But the founding fathers could not have built the wealth and power of the United States without the labor of enslaved indigenous people and Africans. Ford Motor Company didn't revolutionize transportation in the United States without thousands of auto workers, Black as well as white, making that vision real. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did not win civil rights victories alone, whether it was the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the young people willing to put their bodies in front of hoses and dogs, or the decades of organizing by women like Fannie Lou Hamer and Ella Baker. These victories were the work of thousands of people organizing and fighting, sometimes dying for justice. Power is always, always collective, even if our histories try to erase the people behind it. We have come this far because of your support, and that is how we will go forward. This is a campaign that believes in deep movement building, in relationship building, in leadership development, in tapping into our capacities and our greatness. That is how we have raised over $30,000 in 1 week with contributions of no more than $250 per person. And I know that it is within our communities, within you, where we will find the solutions for racial and gender justice, housing justice, transportation justice, economic justice, climate and environmental justice, education justice, health justice, and every other aspect of the healing and justice we need to bring to our communities. I know that it is only by connecting to and supporting our collective wisdom and knowledge and experience that we are going to be able to meet the daunting challenges that our communities are facing. It is time for policy that puts people first, and we are the key. I believe that we will win. Folks might think that kind of certainty is hubris, but in fact, it's just history. I know that I am here running to be the first woman of color, the first Black woman, and the first Latina woman elected at large to the county council in its 50-year history because of all the people who came before me and fought and won despite those who told them it wasn't possible. I know that people like Odessa Shannon, Valerie Irvin, Nancy Navarro, and Ana Sol Gutierrez paved the way. I know that I stand on the shoulders of Harriet Tubman, Shirley Chisholm, and Octavia Butler, and all of the other warriors and visionaries who proclaimed the future and pressed on into it when everybody else said to turn back. I know that this isn't just Black History Month, it is Black Future Month, and we have inherited the charge of our ancestors to make transformative history again. At the start of this year, people who stand against everything our country says it values attempted to steal an election and take down our government by force. They were trying to steal our joy at what we had won in November and what we won again on January 5th, because that's the date I'm going to keep in mind. And I will not let our story be overshadowed. The story of how Black and Latinx and Asian and Native organizers threw down, mobilized our communities, and turned the tide of political power in the United States. The story of how people who have been called uneducated and unreachable and unorganizable voters turned out in droves to secure the future of our democracy and make history in electing Georgia's first Black senator in over 100 years and the first woman, Black woman, and Asian woman in the history of the United States to serve as our vice president. I know what we can accomplish because I've seen it. And so have the people who stand in opposition to justice and equity. If they didn't know what we were capable of, they wouldn't work so hard to suppress our vote, undervalue our labor, take away our wealth, hide our history, keep us locked into neighborhoods without adequate services, and keep us locked up, period. There wouldn't be pushback every time we rise. We need to be as confident of our own ability as those who are afraid of it, because there is nothing that we can't do together. And I believe that we will win. I don't believe that we will reform or incrementally change or wait until someone else says it's time for justice and time for our leadership. That is over, because we cannot afford to keep waiting. Our communities and our families need us to step into the boldest visions of our future, the visions that will allow us to live lives of joy and dignity as part of a restorative and regenerative ecosystem on this one beautiful planet that is the only one we have to call home. This is the time when we play for all the marbles. And I know that some of you have been told that your visions are too ridiculous and impossible, that they don't make sense, that it's just not done that way. I want to remind you that it's always impossible until it's done. And we are doing it right now as we speak tonight. This launch is just the start of the movement miracles you will witness as we build this campaign. those who tell us that we have to operate out of scarcity instead of abundance, and that we cannot find a way to make equity and justice a reality, are lying to you. Because if we could find $8 billion of public money to invest in building the wealth of the richest man in the world, then we can find those same resources to house every person in this county, to provide an education that supports every young person in discovering and exercising their full capacity in leadership while learning and growing in safety, not fear. To enable our small business entrepreneurs who come from every corner of the globe to build out the economic centers of our communities. To feed every person in this county, to build a transportation system that can get any one of us around this county to live and work and learn and play together, to restore and protect and support the health of each one of us so that we can live and work and learn and play together, and so that we can hug each other. This is what I am fighting for. And this is what I am asking you to fight for with me, because I believe that we will win. 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 Thank you.
Woo! Woo! I believe that we will. I need to take a moment. I'm going to toss it to Rebecca for a second because I am just overwhelmed. I know Rebecca's overwhelmed too. We all are overwhelmed. That was amazing, but I just need Brandy. Rebecca, can you just take it for a minute?
Yes. First of all, I want everybody to unmute themselves if we can so we can give Brandy a standing ovation, the standing ovation that she deserves. You're giving her flowers.
Woo! Woo!
All right, we are giving. So here's what I want you to remember. Okay, there are going to be people who will tell you that you are crazy. It's too early to be picking a candidate. You know, I gotta stay neutral. There's no neutrality here. You either with us or you ain't. And I have said to Brandy, as a part of her team of queens, listen, we come in peace, but we mean business, okay? And so you all believed in this vision in 2018 when people said it wasn't possible, and then you came back in 2021. And this collective power that we are building, and I'm also say, having worked on races around the country and the world, the magic of public financing that exists in Montgomery County is a game changer. That is what will fuel everything that we are about to do, okay? And so, Sergio, when people see us win in Montgomery County, they're gonna take it to Philly, and they're gonna take these policies to Detroit and to every other progressive. We're gonna change the country by showing what people is possible in Montgomery County where they say it can't be done, right? And next is ranked choice voting. We are changing the racist systems and policies that have been designed to destroy us, y'all. And we're coming back for all that we owe. And as Brandy said, that's why we said we saying their names. Because as we make history with this campaign, I want you to remember what this feels like, what this looked like, and you will be able to say, I witnessed it up close. And I will close by saying this. I channel the spirits of my ancestors. They whisper in my ear. And as Black and brown and indigenous folks, they are whispering in all of our ears, right? And so it is time for each of us to remember that the next 500 days, we are in the fight of our lives, okay? We are in the fight of our lives. And again, there's no room for neutrality here. You either with us or you ain't. And so I just wanna thank you on behalf of this amazing team. I wanna honor Brandy for finding the courage and having the bold vision to declare the audacity of ambition to declare herself as a candidate for at-large council. And I want to honor and name Michelle Whitaker, who is one of the best campaign managers in the country. And I want to give honor to Miss Carol Brooks, who birthed these unicorns, and the whole line, and Shayla and the whole team. And I just want to name that because the three of you saw a vision that nobody else could see. But this time we're going to make them all believers. And as my daddy would say from St. Louis, we're going to show them better than we can tell you, okay? And so I just want to say it is overwhelming. I have been reminding Brandy and Michelle to breathe. And I'm going to remind each of you to do that because I should say this, the reason why I brought this up, I've been channeling my ancestors, and the notebook that I have for the campaign has Shirley Chisholm on it. And this reminder that we have everything we need and we've been ready, right? And so I just want to remind you that if you have not already given to donate, this is just the beginning. This is literally just the beginning, and it is going to be hard, and it's supposed to be, because if it was easy, everybody would do it, right?
Thank you, Rebecca. That was just amazing, and I'm so ecstatic, and recovering just because it was. I even heard the speech before, but then just hearing it again, like, oof, just took me out. And our next speaker, he knows what it's like to follow Brandy in a speech, and he's told me before many times that he doesn't want to do that, but we are putting him after Brandy's speech. He's going to share about our public election fund and what this program is, how it's transformative, what we're trying to accomplish here. And after he speaks, I'm going to give you the next update on our fundraising totals and where we are. But I want to kick it over to Chris.
Hey everybody. So yeah, it's really unfair that you make me speak after Brandy and Rebecca. I'm gonna request that I never have to do this again. But my name is Chris Wilhelm. I'm a high school teacher in Silver Spring and a lifelong Montgomery County resident. In 2018, Brandy and I ran for county council at large as a team, and we both earned more than 26,000 votes. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we're going to make sure that Brandy wins in 2022 and becomes the first woman of color elected to an at-large seat on the Montgomery County Council. So besides two obvious qualities of our candidate, or besides the obvious quality of our candidate, we have two really special things about Brandy's campaign. One is that she's using the public campaign financing system. And this is a system that allows grassroots candidates to run competitive campaigns by raising small dollar contributions that are matched by the county's public election fund. Traditionally, a winning at-large candidate would rely on a small group of people to fund their campaign, and they would raise the $300,000, sometimes $400,000 necessary to win by accepting large checks of up to $6,000 from corporations and wealthy donors. I can't overstate how important the public election fund is to changing politics at the local level. Like the folks said in Philly and other jurisdictions who don't have this, this is such a game changer. And it completely shaped how Brandy and I ran our campaigns in 2018, and we're already seeing the power of it this year. So you can see on the slide that the minimum contribution is $5, the maximum contribution is $250. And contributions from Montgomery County residents are matched generously. So here's an example of what that does to a campaign and how it changes the dynamics for people. So I had a donor in 2018 who saw one of my Facebook posts online and randomly stopped by our campaign office. She was a single mom. She was actually also a grandma, an electrician, and a painter, an artist. She was really an extremely fascinating and amazing person. She told me that she really believed in what we were doing, but she had never donated to a candidate before and had never been engaged at all in local issues. And she ended up giving me what she could afford that day, which was $20. And the next day she came back and gave me 2 paintings to hang in our office. And later on in the campaign, when she could afford to do so again, she gave another $20. And so, you know, you don't think that that's very much, but in our system, that $40 that she gave us was actually worth $200 to the campaign. So this just completely changes the dynamic between donors and the candidate and how we can run campaigns in Montgomery County. And I still stay in touch with that donor about local issues. And that's the kind of relationship building that doesn't happen when you don't have a public matching system like this. So you can see there on the screen now, the power of a $50 donation to the campaign is actually worth $250. The power of a maximum contribution from a Montgomery County donor is worth $700 to the campaign. It's just incredible how much this is worth. So the $30,000 that Brandy has raised so far, that's before any of those dollars have been matched. When we apply for matching funds in June, that total is going to multiply by 3 or 4 times. And we're going to start building the total amount of money that Brandy needs to win an at-large campaign in a county of over 1 million people. So I'm extremely excited that Brandy is able to use this system, and we are going to maximize its effect to elect Brandy to the county council. The second thing that Brandy has that is just so special about her campaign is that she's an organizer, and she views the role of volunteers very differently. So if you could go to the next slide, you'll see we have the link to donate to the campaign, which I think already everybody here has probably donated. And if you haven't, please do, and share it to your friends. That part is going really well already. The next thing that we can do is sign up to volunteer. And here's how Brandy views participation in her campaign differently. Traditionally, a campaign will ask volunteers to knock on doors, make phone calls, host house parties, and we're definitely going to do all of those things. But Brandy is a trainer and an organizer, and she wants to bring people into the campaign, not just to help her win an election, but to help them build their own power and their skill sets as leaders to work on the issues that they care about in their communities. So many of us on this call are already activists on a huge number of vital local issues. I've been looking through the list of people who are here. We have people who are active on environmental issues, on education, on economic and racial justice, on housing. And Brandy is going to use her experience as a trainer, as a facilitator, to help volunteers build their own capacity as organizers. That's how this campaign is not just about, Brandy said it herself, this campaign is not just about electing one person to one seat on the county council. It's about actually making progress on all of the things that people on this call have been organizing about and changing our own capacity to bring about that change. So we're already building a unique campaign that's going to change Montgomery County politics, and we need all of you to be a part of it as donors and as volunteers and active participants. And I'll hand it back over and hope that I never have to speak after Rebecca and Brandy again.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. Chris is part of our core team, our kitchen cabinet, and he has been an excellent advisor on our public financing system and working closely with our amazing treasurer, Shayla, as we're getting everything together and getting ready, getting all of the donations together and then preparing for when we do file for public election fund matching dollars. Is everybody ready for maybe an update on where we are in terms of our donation? I think I'm getting some, okay. Yes, okay. So you all get to see the front end. So you see a little bit of the numbers of like how many total donors, and I'll have to take a minute later to give you the exact total here. But we have so far, we've collected $31,551. $31,551, and the average donation is $78.88. Thank you, everyone who's donated. If you haven't, take a moment to donate, because your dollars, as Chris just named, They can be multiplied if you're a Montgomery County resident. And even if you're not a Montgomery County resident, those dollars matter and help us to run a strong campaign, and it all comes together. I want to give you another quick update because this is what we're doing is special here. And as Chris noted, that we need to collect money and then apply for matching funds. Within the matching fund system, you need to, as an at-large candidate, raise $20,000 from Montgomery County donors alone, from 250 Montgomery County donors. So that's $20,000 from 250 Montgomery County donors. Non-Montgomery County residents do not count. So we need to see where we are. Guys, are you ready? Are you ready? We have met the threshold for money and for people tonight. Congratulate yourself. Congratulate all of us coming together to make this happen. We have reached both of those thresholds. We are on the verge. When it comes in June, we will be able to apply for that matching funds, and we will be quadrupling the money that we have to be able to run our field programs, to do the relational organizing that we want to do. This is transformative. In 1 week, we started this donate page last week at like 9 o'clock in the morning. We made it live and we told people that they could start donating. In 1 week, we've raised over $31,000 in total contributions. And in 1 week, we have qualified for the public election fund in dollars and donors. That is because of Brandy's organizing vision and inspiration to all of us to make sure that we saw what was possible, and all of us living into that vision. And now we can live into the next part of the vision of continuing the work to reach out to people across the county to make sure that we can run the best and most expansive program in this county to reach donors, to bring new folks in, to bring new voters in to be involved into our election, to bring new people into the conversation on policies that matter. This is amazing. This is amazing. Everybody, this is because of what we did together, as Brandy said. It's collective power in action right now. This is amazing. Whew. Brandy, is there anything you want to say before we're almost at time? This has been an amazing night. Brandy, anything you want to say right now? You still there, Brandy?
I'm still on mute because I'm so overwhelmed and I don't totally know how to operate Zoom anymore. Y'all, thank you. I can't even describe to you what this week has been, what tonight has been. And I feel so blessed, but I also want you to feel the power. What did we learn, Dalvin? That we will win. That's right. Yes, Chris, it took each of us almost a whole year to do this last time. What took us in our campaign 11 months in 2018 have done in a week. And there are people who don't even understand how this has happened. There are people who can't get their heads around it. And like I said, this is the beginning of the movement miracles. This is the beginning of the historical things we're going to do. You're going to get tired of winning and making history. You're going to be like, we made history last week. We got to make it again this week. And the answer will be yes. Because we are going to keep making it. We are going to keep building this kind of power. We are not going to stop. We have 500 more days to show everybody in Montgomery County, in the DMV, and across this country what is possible. And I just want to, Chris told that story. And I just want to highlight something really beautiful, because the donor that he talked about was also a lovely and beautiful supporter of mine as well. So I just want to highlight that this is also this beautiful painting in my colors. We are going to be creative. We are going to be joyful. We are going to love up on one another. We are going to encourage one another. We are going to sing and dance and canvas while we sing and dance. And I don't even know what else is going to happen by the time this is done. Dream your biggest dream and get ready to see it happen on this campaign. Michelle, back to you.
Yes, yes, yes. And as part of Dreaming Big, we're going to take a couple group photos because of so many people. We've had over 155 people on tonight. I want to take a quick snapshot. So everybody who wants to get on video, if you can get on video, and we're going to take a couple snapshots. I want to get everybody your lovely faces. It is so glad to see all of you here. Let's go, Brandy. I see the sign. Oh my gosh, it's great to have you here. Oh my gosh. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, I'm going to take some pictures. So just give me a second to get the screen ready to do that. We're going to do several of these, so just one moment. First one, smile, cheese. Okay, we're going to do one more. I got 6 pages, so we're going to do 6 times. One more, or 5 more. Hold on a second. Cheese. Okay, here we go. Ready. Cheese. All right, here we go. More screens. Hello, hello, people. Hello. Let's smile. Cheese. Another screen. Here we go. One more time. Cheese for everybody. And one more screen. Cheese. All right. We have done an amazing job tonight, and I hope that you are on fire and excited about the opportunity that we have before us with this campaign. We have 500 days ahead of us. We are just beginning the work, and as we've already demonstrated, we are doing this work together to build that collective power. I want to take a moment to thank all of the people who helped make this evening possible. I want to first thank our amazing host committee members. Shout out to all the host committee members who have been reaching out to their friends, inviting them to be part of this event, inviting them to donate, which is why we were able to reach our goals this week. They are an amazing group of folks, and we're so glad to have them as part of our launch and part of this amazing launch party. I want to thank our amazing speakers who have been here today. I want to thank Anna and Dalvin and Rebecca and Kate, all of you. Thank you. Thank you, Chris, for sharing your wisdom as well. Thank you, all of you, for being part of this and being our speakers and helping to share. Thank you to all the supporters who were able to add stories in their videos and to share those videos with us. I want to give a shout out to Fertile Ground, the Baltimore-based local band that we were playing their music, and we'll be playing that music as we close out our evening together. Shout out to Shayla Davis, who is our treasurer. So everybody surround her with love and joy as she starts to put all of this together and get ready to do our filings with the state. Lots of love to Shayla for this, and thank you for being our treasurer. Thank you to our language justice team, to Elizabeth, Mercedes, and to Chris for helping not only to do our live translation, which is from Elizabeth and Mercedes, we're doing that, but also to helping to translate our website so that there is a Spanish language version of our website. We're so thankful for your help in that. We also want to thank our tech team who's been part of helping to answer questions and get you all ready and in the spaces you need, from Max, Avery, Andrea, all of you. Thank you for helping to be part of our team. I want to thank Jesse, who is our video editor, who edited the supporter video that we showed at the beginning. And as I said, we will share that video on social media, and you can share that with your friends as you're asking them to be part of our campaign and get involved. I want to thank Bobby again. As all of you guys, I know you enjoyed that wonderful cocktail, and Bobby was amazing, and it was great to have Bobby on to help with that. Christine, also one of our tech and language folks online, so I don't want to forget Christine. And then I want to thank We Act Radio team, Kimon, Ali, and Brad, who were able to put all of this together and help us stream it. Thank you, WEACT Radio. Thank you, WEACT team. You did an amazing job. This was so great to have you on here. And finally, last but not least, thank every one of you for being part of tonight's launch. It was moving. It was amazing to be with you in this space. I'm overjoyed, excited, and I believe that we will win. And that is because we've got Brandy, and she is going to be an amazing member of the council, and she's transforming what we do, what is possible in campaigns, and what's possible for us to do on the council. So, Allie, I'm going to kick it over to you to do some background music, and I'm just going to go through and, if you're putting something in the chat, I'll say thank you for your chat message, but thank you all for being with us tonight. It's amazing. I'm so glad. Please make sure you're sharing with your friends, family, what's going on. There's still opportunities for you to get involved, to volunteer. I'm so glad to have you with us, and thank you. Thank you so much. Allie, let's have some music to play us out.
Waiting, burning